Hey there, folks. So, I have done some digging off camera into all of the metahuman stuff that was added in 5.6, and ultimately I came to the decision that I'm not going to be using any of that, at least for now. A couple of reasons. I'll run through those quickly, and then we'll get started on the actual episode. But first reason, it is still beta. Doesn't mean it's not going to be implemented. It's just there's still some beta plugin functionality, so there is chances for things to change. The other one being is ultimately the assets are incredibly large in size in comparison to other things. So I don't want to bloat my game with metahuman assets, because the way I want to implement it, I would need hundreds of metahuman related assets, and that gets exponentially big. So, with that out of the way, I am going to be circling through and working on our equipment. Now, I did do some thinking, some planning out, well, some conceptual designs on paper. There is two different ways I could go about it. I could create a new component for the equipment, or I could add it to our humanoid character base. Now, the two reasons, well, to explain those two options, the equipment component allows you to have modularity, and you can throw it on different actor classes, things like that. But ultimately, the way I've done the character class inheritance tree, I don't need that modularity. Let me bring up that class diagram quick, actually. So here you can see how I've got that set up. Let me get rid of some of these paint layers and add another one in quickly. Change it to 5, and I put this in a green color. So ultimately, the way this has been broken out is this set of character, well, child classes of character, are going to be the ones that I want to have equipment on. Ultimately, it is, let me just undo that, it is this one where all of that logic should reside. So we have human NPC and the player character. So anything that is humanoid that can wear equipment is going to be a child class of the humanoid character. So human NPC base is a child class, obviously. Those are going to be our human NPCs that are going to be populating the world. They're going to have equipment. And then our player character, obviously, is going to have equipment. So ultimately, everything can reside on humanoid character base. Now, why not use a actor component? Well, the reason why I've decided not to go with an actor component is pretty basic. And that is, this is the only stuff that I want to have equipment. I don't want to enable a bear to have equipment. If you wanted to do that through a mod, yeah, cool. You want a bear that can wear clothing? Human NPC base. It's the way that works. You're going to have all of that extra stuff there that you can work with. So, but with that, ultimately, I decided, get rid of these. Instead of creating an actor component, I am just going to add all the raw logic to the humanoid character base. So, back to Visual Studio. To get started on that, we want to open up our humanoid character base header, and I'm also going to open up the source file for that. Humanoid character base. You can see we've got all of our set mesh functionality already in here. So logically, we have this stuff in place. So what do we need from here? Well, let's take a look at our data classes quickly. We have where is it? Equipment slot. Between episodes, I went through and fixed my commented out stuff because this was 7, 7, 8, 9, 10. I fixed those just so that the integer assignment was still accurate. But first and foremost, okay, so we need equipment slot.generated, well, not generated, equipment slot.h. So I'm going to add that in here. Include data type / e equipment slot.h. Now, how am I going to be going about this? Well, ultimately I decided, because these slots are all going to be unique, head, torso, hands, leg, feet, if I change this to down the line later have left foot, left hand, right hand, I can do that. It's all going to be done through this enum. So to do that, what I decided to implement, and this may not be the best way to go about it, it's just how ultimately when I was designing things I came about making that decision. It needs to be protected, obviously, so T map E equipment, I'm just going to copy it over from here, E equipment slot, and then we need our, from our new inventory, item data. And that is, where are you? That is this guy right here, isn't it? Equipped items. Now, we also, do we have, yeah, nothing's in there, but I'm just going to use this to grab the header or the include. So first and foremost, that's not raw, that's a pointer, because what we're going to be doing here is we want this to still be in the inventory. So the reason being for that is I'm trying to think how to explain this. I want to take the equipped items and count those towards weight for what a character can carry for slowing down and stuff like that, because you're wearing a heavy leather jacket, you feel the weight. It doesn't magically disappear the second it's on you. Now, you don't feel it as severely as if you're, say, carrying it independently. So there's going to be some logic we add for that further down the line. But so we have this here. That is our equipped items. Now, actually, I want this to be visible. Property. Spell that correctly. That is visible anywhere. Blueprint read only. All right, so we've got that. Now we have our functions already for equip and unequip. Let's take a look at those here. Actually, we don't have unequip. I want to change this to equip item. This is just going to be a generic one. I'm going to get rid of equip weapon for now, because I want to start on this pretty simple. Oh, don't need a semicolon there. Where is our equip stuff? So I'm going to get rid of equip weapon and get rid of you here. Now I also want to change this one here. So instead of passing in skeletal mesh, what it is going to be is passing in UTFN item data. Item to equip. Alright, so now we've got that. Let's create the definition. Okay, so how do we want to go about doing this? Well, first and foremost, equipped items dot add item to equip dot, nope, that's a pointer. What am I doing? Slot. And then item to equip. What are you complaining about? Is that it? Oh, it's EN equipment slot versus E equipment slot. Whoops. It's in here, isn't it? Okay. That's why. So let's fix that up, because obviously I messed that up because I can't even remember my own inventory system I just wrote. So get rid of you. And then down here, it's EN equipment slot, and here it is EN equipment slot. So with that, I'm going to look at our item data, and yeah, that is still slot. So this should... Okay. So what we've done there is we have just either added it to or replaced whatever was already in this slot within our map. And that was one of the design things I was thinking about. It's like, okay, everything in here is restricted to one per slot. So next thing we want to do is go switch, and actually I'm going to change this to a local variable. Slot to use equals slot. What am I doing? It's already a... I don't know why I'm doing this. Do I need equipment slot? I'm trying to decide. Actually, yeah, we don't need... I'm just going to do this. I may refactor this. I've got to decide. Actually, yeah, no, because if you have something that's a left hand or ambidextrous, thinking about that as a weapon. That was the reason. Sorry, I was trying to figure out why did I have this documented this way. The reason being for using this value instead of the slot coming from here is, say for example, you have a bat, and you can put it in your left hand or your right hand. The slot information on the item is going to be basically either, whereas in here you're going to be saying specifically which slot you're putting it in. So yeah, that was the reason for that. So switch slot, and then we're going to go case EN equipment slot. Okay, EN equipment slot. So I'm going to pause the video just simply because you don't need to sit here and watch me type out every single one of these cases, and I'll be back as soon as I've done that. Alright, so got these typed out. Now you're going to notice I don't have all of them. I did not include a case for either hand. The reason being for that is that shouldn't be happening. Now, the reason for that being is we're saying equipped to this a specific slot, not equipped to either of these slots. So that's going to end up, if that ever gets called, that'll end up falling through to our default case here at the end. Now, speaking of fall through, obviously we don't want to fall through any of these cases, so I am going to add a break after each one of these. So now that we have that, well, first and foremost, we don't need slot none. That means we're unequipping it, or we've got an error in our code. So I'm going to get rid of that one. Now, do I have reference to logger in here? No, I don't. But I might have it lower in the stack. Logger, yep. Get instance, add message, Error level. I wouldn't say that's critical, but I'm going to say that is a error. Now, I'm going to want to refactor some of this because I'm thinking about we want to check this portion first. Called with invalid slot. So just to go back on what I was just saying about switching the order of this round. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to see, okay, is it a valid item? If it's not, we don't want to do anything. So I'm going to change this from a break to a return. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it to the bottom. So we're validating the slot first. And then from there, we're going to do a couple of other things. So this is going to be set hat mesh. Item to equip, and what did we call? It's in here. I added a skeletal mesh item to this, didn't I? No, I didn't. Okay, so we need to add that in there. We didn't add a static mesh either. Okay, so copy this. Static mesh. I think it's T subclass up. What did we do in the previous one actually? Items, equipable item base. How did we do that? Slot type. It's just a character mesh. Skeletal mesh. I thought we had a static mesh. Or is that in here? Item base. Okay, they were just the static mesh or skeletal mesh. They weren't T subclass of. Character mesh. And what was the other one we had actually? Item base. It was, how did we do that? World mesh. Did we not have one of these that had a static mesh? Yes, so. Okay, I'm going to copy both of these over to our new item. And the reason being for that is we don't need this meta. So I'm going to get rid of all of this. So the reason being for this is a generic item. So anyways, going back to this. So item to equip dot character mesh. No, how are we meant to be passing that through? Is that it? Use skeletal mesh. Yeah, that's okay. That's a character mesh. Why are you not liking that? Use static mesh. Why is that? Did I just do that as a static mesh, not a skeletal mesh? Yes, I did. Wow. Okay, let's fix that. That should fix this. All right, so this is going to be set torso item. And I'm just going to grab this portion here actually to copy and paste. Alright, and then set backpack item. Okay, so we have got really the very basic equipment stuff there. Now, this is far from finished. As you can see, obviously, we have our weapon. We have a bunch of other stuff to do. And right now we're not even accounting for if anything is already equipped. How are we going to go through and adjust that? So there is one thing though I want to do based on what I was saying at the start regarding weight. So going back, let's close out of this stuff here. I don't want to keep my old stuff open because it's going to keep confusing me like I had there. So in here, in our new item data, use text is usable, has item decay replacement. So I'll see if I've got it added, because again, I haven't done this in a while. I don't have a Boolean for this. I do want to add one in for this. Let's get down to here. So what I want is when we're doing weight calculations, if it is equipped, I want to be able to modify that. So, or change how the weight calculation is being done. So as part of this, what I'm going to do here is if equipped items dot find. No, I don't need to do it there. Sorry. If equipped items dot find slot equipped items slot, note your pointers, B is equipped equals false. Now what this is doing is if there's an item in there already that's already equipped, we're saying, okay, whatever's in the inventory is no longer equipped. Trying to think how to go through and do this. Because yeah, if that's okay, no, we don't want to do that there. Sorry. I'm going to do this down here. So the reason being for this, and I'll explain just because brain's getting ahead of myself with the recording. So this whole portion here, the switch statement, this is really validating if it is a good slot to use, and if it is, we're assigning the skeletal mesh, and then following that we're going to do all the additional logic. So in here, if there was something in that slot, we're going to say that item is no longer equipped. Here we're going to go item to equip, B is equipped equals true. Now the whole purpose for this, there is going to be some catch cases here, bearing in mind, because we have to do validate one-handed, two-handed, things like that. But what we're doing here is whatever was equipped, if there was something there, we're setting the flag that it is no longer equipped, and then item to equip, the one that we're now trying to, we're saying, okay, you're now equipped, and we're going to put that in its place. Here we don't have to worry about the defined. This is just going to replace it if it's already there, or add it if it's not. So we are hitting the 20-minute, well, we've just actually passed the 20-minute mark here. So I'm going to end things off just simply because I, well, don't have much more time to record this session. But next episode, we're going to continue with this. We're going to get this logic sorted out, as well as start trying to push some of the stuff back, like here, the reason for this, we're going to work on our inventory component, things like that. So, but as always, folks, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. If you do have any questions, concerns, suggestions, please feel free to either leave a comment down below or hop over on the Discord. I do respond on the Discord a lot quicker, just simply because I get those notifications. With my new job, I'm not allowed / able to check my phone while I'm at work. During normal work, it's on breaks. So I'm a little behind on responding to things sometimes. But as always, folks, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next episode.